The Galactic Senate had existed for 12,000 years. Its members included 347 species from across the known universe. They had built empires, conquered stars, and created laws that governed trillions of lives. They believed themselves the masters of all creation. But they had never encountered anything like humanity. When the first human colony ships appeared at the edge of space, the galaxy took little notice. Humans were soft creatures. They lived short lives. Their bodies broke easily, and they possessed no natural weapons. The Empire saw them as nothing more than curious animals stumbling into the darkness of space. That was their first mistake. Within 300 years, humanity had spread across 40 star systems. Their cities rose on worlds that other species had declared uninhabitable. They built factories on frozen moons and farms in the hearts of asteroids. Where others saw death, humans saw opportunity. Ambassador of the Empire stood before the Galactic Senate on the day everything changed. His scales shimmered under the artificial lights as he addressed the assembled representatives. Behind him, holographic images showed human warships cutting through defense lines like fire through dry grass. "They are a plague," declared. His voice echoed through the vast chamber. "They multiply faster than any species in recorded history. They adapt to environments that would kill our strongest warriors. And now they build weapons that rival our own." The Senate murmured with concern. Species that had never agreed on anything found themselves united in their growing fear. High of the Collective rose from her floating throne. Her 4 eyes scanned the assembled representatives. She was ancient even by galactic standards, and her word carried tremendous weight. "What do you propose?" she asked. Turned to face her directly. Resolution 7742, the complete and immediate outlawing of humanity. Their colonies will be dissolved. Their ships will be seized. Those who resist will be eliminated. The chamber fell silent. Resolution 7742 had been used only twice before in galactic history. Both times, the targeted species had been wiped from existence. A small voice spoke from the back of the chamber. It belonged to Observer, a junior diplomat from a minor species called the. They were known for their curiosity and their tendency to ask uncomfortable questions. "Has anyone informed the humans of this discussion?" Laughed, the sound was harsh and cold. "Why would we warn prey before the hunt?" "Because," said quietly, "humans have a saying. They claim it is better to die on your feet than live on your knees. I have studied their history. When they are cornered, they do not surrender. They fight." Dismissed the concern with a wave of his clawed hand. "Let them fight. We have 10,000 warships at our command. The combined fleets of the Galactic Senate could burn their entire civilization to ash in a single cycle." The vote was called. 312 species voted in favor of Resolution 7742. 29 abstained. 6 voted against. The resolution passed with overwhelming support. Humanity was now illegal. What the Senate did not know was that human intelligence operatives had infiltrated their communication networks decades ago. Before the final vote was even counted, encrypted transmissions were racing across human space at faster-than-light speeds. Admiral Wei stood on the bridge of the HSS Defiance, the flagship of the first human fleet. She was a small woman with gray hair and calm eyes that had seen too many battles. When she received the transmission, she simply nodded. "They finally did it," she said. Captain, her second-in-command, stepped closer. "Orders, Admiral." Wei looked out at the stars. Beyond the viewport she could see the distant lights of other ships, hundreds of them, thousands. They had been gathering in secret for years, hidden in the shadows between stars where no sensor could find them. "Send the signal," she said. "Operation Last Light is now active." Across human space, similar scenes played out on countless ships and stations. Military commanders opened sealed orders they had carried for years. Factory workers shifted production lines from civilian goods to weapons of war. Citizens who had lived peaceful lives reported to training centers they had been building in secret. The galaxy believed humanity was weak. They believed humans were soft, fragile creatures who had simply been lucky. They did not understand that human history was written in blood and fire. Every generation of humanity had faced extinction, and every generation had survived through sheer stubborn refusal to die. The fleet arrived at the human colony of New Shanghai expecting easy victory. They brought 500 warships, more than enough to crush a species they considered primitive. They found emptiness. The colony was abandoned. Cities stood silent. Factories were dark. 10 million humans had vanished as if they had never existed. Admiral the Younger, son of the ambassador, commanded the fleet. He ordered his ships to scan for the missing colonists. His sensors found nothing but dust and echoes. "They have fled," he announced to his captains. "Cowards, as we expected. Begin landing operations. We will strip this world of resources and move to the next." His ships began their descent toward the surface. That was when the mines activated. Humans had spent 20 years seeding space around their colonies with weapons. Gravity mines, nuclear devices, kinetic impactors hidden inside asteroids. The weapons had been invisible to sensors because they were not powered until that moment. The first wave of explosions destroyed 80 ships instantly. The second wave crippled another 100. Before the Younger could issue orders, his fleet was trapped in a killing field of human design. And then the human ships appeared. They emerged from behind the system's gas giant, where they had been hiding with their engines cold and their systems dark. 300 human warships, smaller than vessels but faster and more maneuverable. Admiral Wei's voice crackled across all frequencies. "This is the Human Defense Force. You have entered our space with hostile intent. We offer you one chance to withdraw. Take it." The Younger refused. His pride would not allow retreat. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it ended, only 7 ships remained. They limped back to Senate space with stories of human weapons that seemed to anticipate every move, human tactics that broke every rule of civilized warfare. The Senate was furious. They had expected quick victory. Instead, they had suffered the worst military defeat in 3,000 years. High demanded an emergency session. Representatives from across the galaxy gathered to hear reports from the front lines. What they learned terrified them. Human fleets were not gathering for defense. They were mobilizing for attack. Intelligence reports showed human armadas moving toward strategic targets across Senate space. They were not waiting for the galaxy to come to them. They were bringing the war to their enemies. "How is this possible?" demanded. "Where did they find such resources?" Observer, who had warned against the resolution, provided the answer. "They have been preparing for this moment since they first learned of the Senate's existence. Every trade agreement, every diplomatic mission, every peaceful exchange was cover for their true purpose. They were mapping our defenses, identifying our weaknesses, and building their forces in secret." Stood before the Senate again, but this time his voice held no confidence. "We must commit our full military strength immediately. If we strike now with everything we have, we can still destroy them." "And who will lead this attack?" asked. "Your fleet was destroyed by a force 1/10 its size. Do you expect better results with more ships?" The debate raged for hours. Species that had voted for Resolution 7742 now blamed each other for the disaster. Old alliances crumbled. Ancient enemies found common ground only in their shared fear. While the Senate argued, the human fleets advanced. The first human armada struck without warning. They did not come to conquer. They came to demonstrate. Their weapons carved deep wounds into the planet's military installations while leaving civilian areas untouched. A message played on every screen across space. Admiral Wei appeared, her expression calm and her voice steady. "We did not start this war. We wanted only to live in peace, but you chose to make our existence illegal. You chose to send your fleets against our homes. You chose to declare that our children, our families, our entire species had no right to exist." She paused, letting her words sink in. "We choose differently. We choose survival. We choose to fight with everything we have and everything we are. Your Senate believed we were weak because we die easily. They forgot that dying is something humans do very well. We have been doing it for 1,000,000 years and we are still here." The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched in stunned silence. More attacks followed. Human fleets appeared at transportation hubs, military bases, and communication centers. They struck fast, hit hard, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. They were ghosts in the darkness of space, bringing fire and fear wherever they went. The Senate tried to respond with overwhelming force, but their fleets could not catch enemies they could not find. Human ships used routes through unstable space that other species considered too dangerous. Human crews worked in conditions that would kill any other beings. Human commanders made decisions with a speed that made computer-assisted strategists seem slow. 6 months after Resolution 7742, the Galactic Senate received a new transmission. This one came from Admiral Way aboard the HSS Defiance, which now orbited the Senate's capital world. She was not alone. Behind her ship, visible through the chamber's massive windows, stretched an armada of 5,000 human warships. They had arrived without warning, bypassing every defense the galaxy had constructed. "You made us outlaws," Way said. "You declared that humanity had no place in this galaxy, but we were already here and we were already ready." The Senate chamber was silent. 347 species, the masters of the known universe, could only watch as human weapons held their fate in the balance. "We do not want your destruction," the Admiral continued. "We want only what every species deserves: the right to exist, the right to grow, the right to reach for the stars without asking permission from those who fear what we might become." High spoke for the Senate. Her ancient voice was heavy with defeat. "What are your terms?" Wei smiled. It was not a cruel expression. It held something almost like sadness. "Recognition, respect, and a promise that no species will ever be outlawed simply for being different. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us. But if you cannot accept that, we are prepared to continue this war until there is no one left to oppose us." The vote that followed was unanimous. Resolution 7742 was overturned. Humanity was granted full membership in the Galactic Senate. Some say the older species never forgave humans for that day. Others claim they came to respect the strange, fragile beings who had refused to accept extinction. But everyone agreed on one truth. The galaxy had tried to outlaw humanity. They had made their decision too late. The Armadas had already mobilized. And when humans fought for survival, the universe itself learned to tremble. The age of human expansion had only just begun.